Nothing for Ugly the dog, I don't think.
No, I know, and he could pick his role now, couldn't he?
Well, he could, although I think he's retiring, I think we've read somewhere. Nina, how's it looking? It seems pretty grey around London.
This is BBC News, the headlines at 3 o'clock.
Also coming up in the next hour, a silent film, a big noise at the Oscars.
Good afternoon. Police are investigating a network of corrupt officials as part of their inquiries into phone hacking and police corruption. Detective Assistant Commissioner Sue Akers told the Leveson inquiry that evidence suggested a culture of illegal payments at the Sun newspaper. She said payments allegedly made by the paper were authorised at a senior level. Our correspondent Nick Witchell has been following the inquiry. 17 minutes past 3. We'll be getting more from Brussels in a moment. Let's just bring you a statement, an update on that boat, that ship, which has had a fire past, following all the right procedures in the event of this emergency. And apparently tugs and other naval and aerial units are on their way to the Costa Allegra. You're watching BBC News. Let's remind you of our headlines at 18 minutes. Let's take you straight to the Royal Courts of Justice, where we're expecting any moment to hear from. Just bring you an update on those 2 cruise ships that we understand have been turned away from Ushuaia in Argentina because they'd already visited the Falklands. There's been this response from the Foreign Office in the last 20 minutes or so. We're very concerned to hear that the Adonia and Star Princess have been refused access to the port of Ushuaia. There can be no justification for interference in free and legitimate commerce. British diplomats in Argentina urgently seeking to clarify the circumstances surrounding the incident, and we are in contact with the company concerned. Another cruise ship in the news this afternoon, this time off the Seychelles. We're hearing that the maritime authorities in Rome say that there are no electric lights working on board the Costa Allegra at the moment. Just briefly, Health and Social Care Bill in the Lords tonight. We just understand from the lobby that Nick Clegg has written and consulted the Prime Minister David Cameron before he wrote to Lib Dem MPs and peers, basically just saying, trust us, with these various amendments we can get this bill through. The PM, the Prime Minister, doesn't see the need for further significant changes. Let's listen now to what Nick Clegg has to say about this.
Thank you, Gary.
Gary,
he's off.
Exactly. So Nick Clegg just pointing out that he'd consulted with the Prime Minister about that letter before sending it to Lib Dem MPs and peers, and he believed it would be then in the best interest to get the bill through. That bill returning to the House of Lords this afternoon. We'll return to that story very shortly. Now, European Union foreign ministers have imposed further sanctions on Syria today in response to the violent suppression of anti-government protests. Yes, the measures included freezing the assets of the Syrian central bank, stopping Syrian cargo flights landing at EU airports, and a travel ban on 7 Syrian government ministers. Sanctions come as Syrian state television reported that 89% of voters backed a new constitution in yesterday's referendum. Well, as he left the meeting of EU ministers in Brussels in the past hour or so, the Foreign Secretary William Hague said he was pleased with what had been agreed. And we have the Foreign Secretary William Hague speaking in Brussels a short time ago. As we've been hearing, the Deputy Prime Minister Nick Clegg and the Liberal Democrat peer Shirley Williams have written to the party's MPs and peers calling for further changes to plans to shake up the NHS in England. They said if the additional safeguards were accepted, the bill should become law. Well, this afternoon, Liberal Democrats in the House of Lords are launching a new attempt to rewrite the government's controversial bill. Our chief political correspondent Norman Smith is in West. Some breaking news to bring you now from Germany, where the Parliament has approved the second bailout package for Greece. Chancellor Angela Merkel was facing a revolt from a small group of members of Parliament from her own coalition. Not immediately obvious yet whether this she got this through by relying on opposition votes. It does mean, of course, that Germany is now going to have to pay more than any other country towards this bailout of €130 billion for Greece. And the German public doesn't like it one bit. A lot of the papers today in Germany saying stop, absolutely no more, and opinion polls suggesting that 60–70% of the Germans are vehemently opposed to it. Well, the financial markets have just closed in London. No doubt there'll be a reaction elsewhere too. Let's take a look at the sports news now. Matt's here, waiting patiently.
Afternoon to you both. Yes, I am.
Hugh Edwards will be with you at 5 o'clock with more headlines, more stories.
Oh yeah, we've got some weather, haven't we? And before that, Alex Deacon's